Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Health Conversation. We're going to go live here in just a second. Okay, there we go. Oh, of course. Didn't work too well. Well, hello, and welcome to the New Health Conversation, everyone. I'm hoping you're having a really good day. And today we're going to discuss what you're seeing up there, which is the how you really absolutely positively can lose weight in 4 days that would take you a month or 8 weeks on diets, I should say. And it's absolutely real. It's all backed by medical proof. There's no opinions. We don't give you opinions. We only give you medical proof. I'm an author. I've written 4 best-selling books. I've done over 1,500 lectures all over the world. I did 20 shows on PBS, and we only provide you with medical proof. So I hope you will enjoy this podcast where we're going to go over my books. The first one called Why Diets Are Failing Us. We wrote it back in 2010. We've had 3 updates since in the last, hard to believe, 14 years, but so much has changed. You'll notice that we've put there for you a free medical website that you can go to. That website is 100% free. There's nothing to buy. Hello, Debbie. Welcome. We're talking, I know it sounds crazy, read the headline. Imagine if it were possible to lose weight safely in 4 days, taking 6 to 8 weeks of diet and exercise. It's absolutely real. We're going to show you the medical proof today in 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies, okay? I guess you don't want to lose weight. You want to stay feeling bad. Okay, that's Superfly Radio Guy. That's an interesting title. Manny and Chad. You'll see the title. That is not hype. You absolutely positively can lose as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of any diet or exercise program. We have 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies that prove it, where men and women were not allowed to exercise, and yet they lost as much weight in 4 days as in 8 weeks of any diet. They lost no water and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. You're going to learn, if you stay on this podcast, why traditional diets are completely obsolete, okay? I guess you don't want to learn. That's okay, too. User 492, thank you for joining. This is the New Health Conversation podcast. Hello, Steve Adkins. This is the New Health Conversation podcast where we're going to show you medical proof how you can, Mel, we're going to show you how to lose as much weight in 4 days as in 8 weeks of any diet. The same user 374. I'm Peter Greenlaw. I'm a nutrition researcher, 21 years. This is live. It's not pre-recorded. We're going to show what you see up there in the headline is real. Jennifer, what if you could drop a whole dress size in 7 days with no exercise? See, people just don't believe it, or maybe they don't want to lose weight or need to, but we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does anyone actually think that hello, Denise, does anyone think traditional diets work? This is not a diet. It's not about dieting. You can see right there, William, you can lose as much weight in 4 days safely as in 6 to 8 weeks of any diet. It's backed by 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies with this major breakthrough. This will obsolete every diet you've ever heard of, been on, etc. People that really get exposed to this new information, it's like they're just blown away. We're providing you with a free, Brian and William and Steve. At the bottom, you can see the New Health Conversation. That's a free medical website where you can go and see the medical proof backing up exactly what it says in the headline. Now, I know for all of you, Steve, William, or Brian, it probably seems like that's science fiction. But we have 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies proving that men and women with no exercise allowed really did lose as much weight in 4 days as 8 weeks of any diet they've ever been on. They lost as much weight in 30 days as a year of any diet they were on. They lost no water weight and did not lose lean muscle, gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. That's what we're going to discuss today, but we're also going to blow up the myth around all the diets that you're all familiar with. Let's start with Harvard Medical School. This is from my best-selling book, Why Diets Are Failing Us. This is Harvard. Stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss it's not just antiquated, it's just wrong. They said we need to concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. I know it sounds like science fiction. Here's what I'll say with all due respect to all of you. You have no idea how bad you actually feel right now because you don't understand how good you could feel. Even with your best intentions, doing whole foods, doing organic, you're still incapable of producing the world's most perfect meal. That's what these researchers did. By the way, they don't sell anything. They don't have any products. They research foods from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, from Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, And 60% of what people did to create this result came from these foods around the world. The other 40%, you got a grocery list, you actually go to the grocery store and shop from. Now, why am I saying that? Because our food in this country, in case you don't know, is becoming more and more nutritionally insufficient. And even if you think you're eating healthy, I'll give you one quick example. We need about 70 what are called trace ionic minerals, okay? In the best organic, you get 20. So it doesn't matter how much you eat, you're still short 50 minerals. And what are trace minerals? They're things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum, just to name a few. So it's not a matter of you getting the best organic food you can find. It still only has 20 minerals. Why? Because we've over-farmed and used so many herbicides and pesticides. We've diminished the soil's capability of flourishing the plants and animals in the planet. That's just a given, okay? So just one of the things that we need desperately are all 70 of these minerals, which actually are called the spark plugs of life. It'd be like driving your car. You got an 8-cylinder car and you only have 2 of the cylinders plugged in. That's what we're running on, okay? Just to let you know, it's not an opinion. That's what the experts are all saying about our food today. And even if you do organic, over 200 studies, they prove that organic, although slightly better nutritionally than regular food, it's not that much more, but the reason to eat it, which I do, it's less polluted. Does everyone understand this? So Brian, there's Dan, Sherry Lynn Roll. So the idea behind this is to expose you, make you aware of what the headline says. Imagine if it were possible to safely lose as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of diets. Aren't you a little bit curious? See, here's the thing. You're comparing where you are now with whatever you're doing, even if you're eating healthy. And you think, well, I feel really good. No, you don't understand. You can't be at your maximum when you have a minimal amount of nutrition compared to what the body really needs and requires. Diets don't work for one main reason. It's based on the wrong principle. They tell you that the only way to lose weight is to lower calories. Well, I just read to you from Harvard Medical School where they said, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong. They said what we need to concentrate on is what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Now, another big study titled, Why You Shouldn't Count Calories. Remember, nothing we're sharing with you is an opinion. We're giving you medical evidence. These other influences, they're giving you all these opinions that have one shred of medical evidence behind what they're claiming, okay? Let's be clear about that. So why you shouldn't count calories, listen to this. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, they said, is 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories will gain back more weight than they lost. So are you going on a diet to lose weight to gain back more than you lost? That's what you're doing, according to the medical studies. I mean, we got study after study after study proving that these claims that you're seeing on social media are unsubstantiated. They're not backed up by science. And I can say this. For 20 of my 21 years of research, despite I did 20 shows on PBS, I was interviewed on 4 biggest daytime shows in America. I wrote 4 best-selling books with medical doctors and did over 1,500 lectures all over the world, at universities and hospitals. They even flew me to China. For 20 of my 21 years, all this, it meant zero, nothing in the medical world. Why? Because we didn't have peer-reviewed human trial studies. You'll hear the term scientific study, doesn't mean a thing. Oh, we have a scientific ingredient, doesn't mean a thing. Only thing that matters in medicine, and thank goodness we have these safeguards, is when they do human trials on, what does peer review mean? It means that the publications who publish them, things like the Obesity Journal, Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world, they decide if they're going to publish your studies. They send it out to the world-class experts, medical doctors and researchers. They do the analysis. And you know what their job is? To disprove what you're claiming. That's why what we're listening to is just chatter. I mean, unless they can produce a peer-reviewed human trial study, why are you doing it? Because that's what everybody's saying. I mean, let's face it. All diets is you're going to consume less food. That's exactly what happens. But what they never tell you is your body has a minimum amount of nutrition that it needs. The brain, when it's got enough nutrition, everything's cool. The minute you go on a diet, what are you doing? You're lowering the amount of food and you're lowering the amount of nutrition. The brain goes in starvation mode, prevents you from burning fat, and immediately turns to your muscles for fuel. Okay, but it does 2 of the most unhealthy things as a result of using your muscles for fuel. 1, slows down your metabolism. So that's why you plateau on a diet, or you come off the diet, you gain everything back. But worse, what it does when you lose lean muscle mass, it also diminishes the effectiveness of your own immune system. This may shock you. Your diet, you think, is it doing something for you? No, it's doing something to you. It's not my opinion. Study after study after study, that's what they're saying. And the thing is that we now have the medical research and the proof to back up everything I'm saying. But look, it gets worse. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. This is from Johns Hopkins Medical School saying if the current trend continues, 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese by 2030 in 5.5 years. Do all of you agree we have more diets than ever? Go to Barnes & Noble. It'll make your head spin. How in the world could we be? They're talking about apocalypse. They're not talking about pandemic. They're talking about apocalypse. They know because the medical system will not be able to handle this. We already have today, 50% of Americans are pre-diabetic. Do you know about a third of teenagers are pre-diabetic? What? This is completely out of control. And what do? Well, we listen to these, and I don't want to disparage anybody. I don't need to do that, okay? I rest on the medical proof. I rest on the science. I don't want you to believe Peter Greenlaw. I'm serious. Just like if you go to our website, there's no books to buy. There's nothing to buy. It's only the medical proof to show you what's really, really possible. Aren't you a little bit curious to see how in the world could you lose as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of diets? We see it every day. It's not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. Most women lose a whole dress size in 7 days. Guys lose 2 to 4, sometimes 6 inches off their waist in 7 days with no exercise allowed. And in a month, people lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet. Doesn't that sound kind of cool? Why in the world? Well, we're listening to what that's what the main, look, I'm the canary in the coal mine. I understand I'm up against all of social media. But the one thing, what separates me from everybody else is these 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies that none of these influences have. None of these diets work long-term, period. End of the story, as I just read to you. Now, a big trend now is this intermittent fasting where you don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8. Here's an article about a study. This is from the New York Times. The study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association says is one of the most rigorous studies to examine time-restricted eating, which involves fasting for 16 hours. So then they went on to say, but the new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between noon and 8, popularly known as the 16-8 diet, gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds. And most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. I don't care what diet you're on, that's what's going on. And congratulations on your success. You lost 20, 30, 40 pounds. But if 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle, let me tell you why that's so bad. Because the experts say for every pound of lean muscle that you lose, it takes you, even if you go to the gym and do everything right, about a year to gain back 1 pound. So let's say you lose 20 pounds on a diet. Take 40%, that's 8 pounds. That's why you go on diets and you lose weight. Then you find the next diet, you lose weight again. You keep reducing your lean muscle mass, which slows your metabolism down more and more and more and more. Does anyone really, think about it. 80% of Americans are overweight, 50% are obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does anyone think these are working? Why are we counting calories and think that that's a strategy to lose weight? When all the studies show now, that was even Harvard Medical School. They're basically admitting they were wrong, saying stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only inadequate, it's just wrong. They said we need to concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. The researchers knew this. So the researchers that came up with this protocol, which after 38 years of research, essentially what they did, they figured out what doesn't work. What doesn't work is going on any diet where you're lowering the quantity of the food you're consuming and ignoring the nutrition. Because it goes without saying, when you lower the quantity of your food, you're lowering the quantity of nutrition. When the brain senses there's not enough fuel, it freaks out, goes in starvation mode, and converts your muscles into fuel. That's the basis. That's what's going on. That's why you plateau in these diets. That's why you come on. That's why we got 80% of America overweight. And in 5.5 years, they're saying it's going to go to 86%. So are you going to be part of the 14% or part of the 86%? And all of you, with all due respect, you really have no clue how bad you feel right now compared to how good you could feel. But you just settle for it because you don't know what else to do. You listen to the influencers. They're coming on, they're writing on whiteboards, and there's medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and fitness gurus and weight loss coaches and health coaches. But have you ever seen one of them show you one shred of medical evidence, one shred? They give you opinions, but you can't tell me if any of these diets work. There's no way we'd have 80% of America overweight and 50% obese. Does it make sense to everyone? I mean, we really have an opportunity here with this. These researchers, they are the top weight loss, nutrition, and physiologists, researchers in the world, recognized for 38 years, over 100 studies, thousands of people. And you know what they found? All the diets they ever looked at over 38 years, everybody lost weight. But when they measured it, because they did blood, stool, urine, fat, and muscle analysis, people lost up to 40% of their lean muscle mass, and every person, every time, gained back all their weight or more than what they started with. I mean, again, what in the world, what are we doing? Or more importantly, why are we doing it? Because that's what people told us. I hope my battery doesn't die here on my phone. What did I do with the, let's see. Hold on one second, everybody. Got to see. Sorry, there's a cord that I need. I don't know where the heck it is. So we'll go until my battery dies out. But for all of you, look, here's the main thing that I want to show you. That website, The New Health Conversation, it's got all the medical proof. There's nothing to buy, no books, no convincing anybody. We don't do that. We don't need to do that. This is changing people's lives. Can you imagine? How excited would you be if you lose as much weight in 4 days? It's 6 to 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. Do you think that would motivate you to continue? I know you're skeptical. I know, whoa, this can't be real. But it is real. These are the 7 peer-reviewed studies that were published in the biggest medical journals in the world. The Obesity Journal, the Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, and Nature Communications, the #1 journal in the world. The other obesity and weight loss experts from around the world are calling these researchers who invented this protocol. They're saying you've obsoleted why would you ever go on a diet again? Why would you take 8 weeks to lose weight you could lose in 4 days, and the 8 weeks of your weight loss was unhealthy, you lost lean muscle and water? I mean, or how about a month losing as much weight as people lose in a year on traditional diets? Because you don't know. If you're overweight, I'm going to tell you something, it's not your fault, and it's reasons other than just the food and not exercising enough, etc. So my second book that I wrote, and this is a medical syndrome registered trademark U.S. Patent Office, stands for T for toxicity, D for deficiency, O for being overweight, S for stress. You, all of you have this syndrome, everybody in the world. What it means is we're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals, whether you know it or not. And when those enter your body, the immune system can't deal with it, so the body takes the chemical and stuffs it in your fat cells. But I don't want you to believe me. Let's go to some of the experts that are validating what they now know. We didn't even know we were storing chemicals in our body till 2005, Mount Sinai Medical School in New York. And I doubt any of you ever heard about this. So let's dive into it. The Endocrine Society, the largest organization of experts devoted to research on hormones and the clinical practice of endocrinology, reports that the rise in the incidence of obesity matches the rise in the use and distribution of industrialized chemicals. They call these chemicals, and give them a name, they call them obesogens. Listen to this. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal system, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our body from other sources, from natural compounds in soy, hormones to animals, plastics in food packaging, chemicals added to processed food, and pesticides sprayed in our produce. Listen to this. They act in a variety of ways, mimicking human hormones such as estrogen, blocking the action of other hormones such as testosterone, and essentially reprogram us to gain weight. What are you doing about obesogens? Did you even know about obesogens? Are any of these influencers telling you anything about obesogens? This is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. There was a big study on about 8-10 weeks ago on Starbucks on coffee. I like Starbucks coffee. In 1 cup of coffee, you're getting between 50 and 80,000 microplastics in every cup of coffee. Bottled water is between 100 and 150,000 microplastics in every bottle. We're storing that stuff in our bodies. The researchers, here's what they did. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and assisted the body in removing this stuff from the body. Proven in the studies. No diet's doing that. That's why I know people think I'm crazy. Despite that massive, safe weight loss, that's not the reason to do this. That's the wrong reason. The reason you want to do it is you want to maximize your quality of life potential, which right now, you're going to get mad when I tell you this. Well, I'm healthy and I eat 3 meals a day and it's whole food. Really? The food you're eating is becoming almost nutritionally bankrupt, even with your best intentions. The nutritional density of our food has massively decreased over the last 70, 80 years. That's just a reality. They're now starting to talk about it. Finally, on national, I see it talked about. For the first time ever, they're talking about, well, these toxins, really? Well, I'm the guy that wrote the book about this 10 years ago, discovered this medical syndrome, registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. To get a registered trademark, the Patent Office, they searched the world. Is there anything similar to this? I'm very proud of the fact I discovered it. Maybe to the detriment of all of you, but no, not really. Honestly, why would you settle for a less than lifestyle? I know you think you feel pretty good right now. Some of you probably work out, maybe you're in shape, or maybe you're trying to, you're losing weight and you've lost some pounds, etc. But you have to understand, in the studies, not an opinion by me, when they're saying that people who count or restrict their calories, 2/3 of them gain back all their weight or more. That means 2/3 of people that go on diets, they don't just gain their weight back, they end up weighing more than when they started. This is the medical proof. And then big studies like the New England Journal of Medicine did a 12-month study on diets lowering calories and had people do time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, where you don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8. What were the results? After 12 months, the people who went on a calorie-restricted diet lost in a year 16 pounds. That's in a year, ladies and gentlemen. Those doing time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, lost 12.6 pounds in a year. And they went on to say both those lowering calories to lose weight and those doing intermittent fasting lost up to 40% of their lean muscle mass. I know the influencers tell, well, the only, what you lose mainly on this is fat. Unproven, complete nonsense, no proof behind it. This is the proof. And I get really animated. I realize that. I'm not mad. I'm excited because we're giving you an opportunity for free. Go see the medical proof. If you go to that website, we're not going to contact you. You see it right there, the New Health Conversation. Melissa Laws. Okay, that's why you want to go to the website, Melissa. Hold on just a second. Let me put it up there for you. This protocol that these guys, first of all, I didn't finish. These researchers that have been, to let you know, Melissa, 38 years, they've done over 100 studies on every diet out there. But here's the thing. We only knew in 2005 we were storing chemicals in our body. It was never looked at. Mount Sinai Medical School did the first study in 2005. Imagine that. Never. We have 80,000 chemicals in commercial use. 2% have ever been tested for what they're doing to us. I wonder what those other ones are doing. So the researchers, their first goal was, would it be possible to assist our body in removing chemicals? Melissa, you may or may not know this, but last night when you went to sleep, as long as you didn't eat too late, your body, once you went to sleep, all but shuts down digestion. And automatically, without you doing anything, your body turns on a detox mechanism to get rid of the dead cells. Technically, it's called autophagy. That's a fancy name, but it's getting rid of the dead cells that have died off. Every night it occurs. You don't have to do anything as long as you don't eat too late. The researchers, I'll go into that in a moment, they figured out how to create that same process 2 out of 7 days a week while people are going this to get to their goal. By the way, this protocol is called R2M. You know what that stands for? Race to maintenance. Because the whole key to this is not to get the weight off you or those that want to gain weight, which we have, but to show you how to maintain the success that you've had. These people, these studies started about 5 or 6 years ago. They've been tracking the people now for 5 or 6 years who, some of them lost over 150 pounds. They've kept it off. See, think about it. A diet is always a destination. And no diet's ever been proven to show one shred of evidence it's removing chemicals from the body. Well, these researchers, because they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, They proved this was assisting the body in autophagy when people were awake. So they were able to see herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and plastics leaving the body. That's why you'd want to do this, not the weight loss. I mean, I'm putting it up there because I know that's a big draw. Well, what do you mean? How can you possibly, that's got to be unsafe to lose that much weight. No, it's not. They measured water and they measured lean muscle. And in a month's time, people lost as much weight as I just read to you, the New England Journal of Medicine study. People lowering calories lost 16 pounds in a year. Those doing intermittent fasting lost 12 pounds, 6 pounds a year. These people with no exercise lost 16 pounds in a month, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. But that's not the reason to do it. People also lowered their blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides in 30 days. But here was the one that no diets ever touched: inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there, according to the medical world. It went down 25% in 30 days. Hunger went down 41% in 30 days. How much would that excite you? Go on one of these diets for 30 days, and about two or 3 weeks in, you want to eat your couch. Because they're based on deprivation. And because the brain knows it needs a certain amount of nutrition, you drop below that, it creates starvation mode in the body, and the body converts your muscles into fuel, and you slow down your metabolism. That's why you gain all your weight back. I mean, I read that one study, 66 and 2/3 of people who do any form of counting or restricting calories gain back more weight than they lost. It's not my opinion. I mean, maybe you don't want to know about the science. I applaud any of you that are going on a diet, but unfortunately the evidence looks pretty, you're going to be lucky if you only gain back what you've lost. But it's not about that. It's about how you're going to feel. You're basic. Here's what it's like. Okay, maybe it's a bad example, but a good one. So you go to the gas station today, there's one pump and it says, hey, each gallon you get 20 miles to the gallon. The pump next to it, the one I want to use, says, how about getting 100 miles to the gallon? That's what we're talking about here. It has nothing to do with quantity. It only has to do with quality. So how did the researchers, how did they do this, right? No, it's not really expensive. Here's what you don't understand. It's replacing, in a month, it's replacing out of 90 meals, it's replacing probably about 65 or 70. You have to eat. What food are you buying? Are you not eating? You're just breathing air? But what's your health worth? You can't get, it doesn't matter. You can do all organic. It's still nutritionally insufficient. I mean, because these foods that the researchers don't sell, they have nothing to do with that. They come from around the world. They come from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, from Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand. But here's the thing. Most people find they're shocked when they look at their total food budget, because only about 30 to 40% of what they're buying from the store, that other 60 or 70% of their budget goes towards these. People end up spending about the same as they are on food that if they go 100%, they're nutritionally deficient. And also the first 30 days, they offer you 100% money back guarantee on those 5 foods. What is the risk? You know what's expensive? Getting sick. That's expensive. Try to get an appointment with a doctor. Good luck. Our healthcare system right now is becoming a sick care system. It's collapsing. You all can look it up. Her name is Casey Means. Major medical doctor, Stanford Medical School surgeon, left medicine recently to embrace this. Has nothing to do with me. But she's talking about the things. I wrote the definitive book on this more than 10 years ago called the TDOS syndrome, which I discovered and said, wait a minute, we're storing these chemicals inside our body? Is that a good thing? So it doesn't matter what you want to do. The point is that you're in a position where you could change your life or not. What is your priority? What's important to you? Isn't your health your wealth? For all of you that are listening to this right now? But again, for all of you, look at the title. Imagine if it were possible to lose as much weight safely in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of diet and exercise. You're simply replacing 60% of the food you're buying now that's nutritionally insufficient for the most nutrient-dense foods that have ever been discovered in the last 100 years that don't come from North America. That's the key to this. Now let's talk about what did the researchers do. As I said, they are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for 38 years, over 100 studies, thousands of people, okay? It was no doubt, and there's no question now, whatever diet you're on, you're going to lose weight. But every time when they measured it, people lost up to 40% of their lean muscle mass. They plateaued on the diets, and then they ended up losing more, at least as much or more than what they actually lost. So the researchers knew they couldn't do the same approach. Their approach was what? Like, oh, this is all a diet is. You're lowering the amount of food you're consuming. But if any of these researchers ever said that, wait a minute, we're also lowering nutrition, that's what Harvard Medical School said, not me. Right here, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong. They said what we need to concentrate is inner food, not how much food we're consuming. That's what the researchers did in essence, okay? So the way it worked was they figured out after 38 years of research, there were no diets that worked, that they'd ever found. So they said, wait a minute, we need to figure out, let's theorize what we could do. Can we lower the quantity of food, but not lower the quantity of nutrition? Well, they knew using food from North America, that wouldn't work. So they limited the amount of food from North America to about a third to 40% of what you would buy at the, which you're not, so take your total food budget now and about a third of it or 40% you'd buy regular food. Well, not regular, but organic. The other 60% you'd spend or have the money to allocate towards these 5 foods that come from all over the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, Tibet, the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, that have massive amounts of nutrition. And the researchers said what they did, and their goal was to create the world's most perfect meal. That's what you want to do. So what they did was they were able to 40% of the food and 60% of the food was these great foods from around the world, these food sources, right? Then they created 2 complete different ways of consuming the food. One was called protein pacing. Protein pacing is like this. 5 days a week, the people had the world's most perfect meal for breakfast, had a regular lunch, food from the grocery store, a regular dinner, food from the grocery store, and the last, a 4th meal after dinner, not dessert, another meal, the world's most perfect food. And then 2 days a week, they had people do something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not intermittent fasting, not fasting, nothing to do with that. Look at the results. Men and women lost as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of any diet. With no they didn't let anybody exercise. In a month, they lost as much weight in any of these diets that had been studied in a year. They did the research. They had 38 years. They looked at all the diets. They knew how much people lost in a year. And people in every diet, every time, ended up losing 40% of their lean muscle mass. Well, these studies, the people gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise. Whoa, why was that possible? Because the world's most perfect meal, I'm going to explain it to you now. You cannot create it with organic, whatever you think you're going to buy today. I eat Whole Foods, etc. It doesn't exist. Here's why. I'm going to go over the things that are missing in our food in enough quantity, okay? We still have nutrients, but they've gone down, down, down. I'll give you an example. Cornell University did a study on spinach, iron levels in spinach from 1953 to like recently. They estimate that the iron levels in spinach from 1950 to today have decreased, you ready for this, by 4,300%. Loosely translated, a bowl of spinach in 1953, today you'd have to eat about 40 bowls of spinach. Do you understand? It's not about how much food you're eating, it's about how much nutrition you're getting. That's the concept I'd like you to get. That's what the researchers did. Now, how did they create the world's most perfect meal? What would be in that? It would be the nutrients in massive quantities that aren't available from our food. The first one are what are called trace ionic minerals. You've all heard of iron, calcium, magnesium. That's what I'm talking about. The experts say we need 70 of these minerals on a daily basis. They're called the spark plugs of life. In the best organic, you get 15 to 20 minerals. So it doesn't matter how much organic you eat, you're getting 15 to 20. What about the other 50 minerals that we need? Things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum. Where are you getting those? You're not. So we're running on empty, even though we're eating healthy. We think we are. That's the first thing. So they're building the meal, right? And a meal is, it's a salad and it's vegetables and it's proteins. And okay, so now the next thing they needed was one of the most important and one of the most misunderstood things that you're hearing on social media is about the fact, well, we're going to have 120 grams of protein a day. Nonsense. Brand new studies out of Europe debunk that. It is true that the only way we get amino acids is not from fats, not from carbs. They're contained inside of protein. But when you ingest protein from a plant or an animal, the body can't use it. It's actually a toxin. I'll prove that to you in a moment. In Europe, when they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, when you ingested protein, they were able to, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, what percentage. There are 20 amino acids. 9 are called essential. You have to get them from your diet. The other 11 are non-essential. They're contained in any protein. So when we ingest the protein, think of it like a walnut cell. The body breaks open the protein, extracts the 20 amino acids, and then distributes them to our genes. Just to give you an idea, we have 22,000 genes in our body. We make 22,000 different proteins every day. We don't make them with fats. We don't make them with carbs. We don't make them with protein itself, only with the amino acids. So these tests, when they looked at like plant-based protein, the absorption of the amino acids, sad to tell you, was only 10%. All meat, steak, chicken, liver, fish, whatever, 30%. The researchers found a source of protein where the absorption was 91%. 91%. So now we're building the world's most perfect meal. We got all 70 minerals. We got 91% absorption of aminos. And then they found an amazing electrolyte. Electrolytes help you to hydrate your body. No sugar, no artificial sweeteners, etc. The fourth thing that they used, and these ingredients come from Mongolia and Manchuria and Russia. They're called adaptogens. What are those? Well, you're going to love this. What they do, they massively lower stress in our body and most importantly, lower inflammation. We have the medical proof. Inflammation went down 25% in 30 days. The last thing to make the world's most perfect meal were naturally sourced vitamins. Oh, you take them. I'm sure you're going to tell me I take a multivitamin supplement. Well, congratulations, except that about 90% of all vitamins are made in a laboratory. They're synthetic, which is way less, was much more of a challenge for the body to utilize them versus natural. So let's go back to the world's most perfect food. All 70 minerals, not 20, a 91% absorption of aminos, not 10% from plants or 30% from animals, an electrolyte, the adaptogens lowering stress and inflammation, and the naturally sourced vitamins. Do you know, as you move forward on this, the race to maintenance, that's what it's called, that once you get to your goal, it's as simple as having just one of these, the world's most natural, the world's most perfect meal in the morning. You've always heard, well, some of them, doing this intermittent fasting, they're telling you no, but breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And here's why. I explained to you before, when you go to sleep at night, as long as you don't eat too late, the body suspends digestion and detoxes. But in order to do that, the body needs fuel. So when you wake up in the morning, you're depleted. So by having the world's most perfect meal to start your day out, even once you reach your goal, it's most people feel when they get to maintenance, they're spending less than they've ever spent before on their total food budget. That's what you should concentrate on. You want to get your goal. But it doesn't don't even do this. If you think you're going to do this, you lose the weight and then you go back to what you're doing now. And it doesn't mean you can't have wine or a beer or pizza or spaghetti once you get your goal. But what's amazing is that hunger went down 41% in 30 days. Why? Because the body doesn't give a damn about a calorie, doesn't know what calories are. Get that out of your mind. What the body relies on is nutrition. So even though they lowered the quantity of food in these medical diets, they actually increased the amount of nutrition. Yeah, our ashwagandha is part of it. I don't know what happened in the sound. Give me a second here. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? No? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that, everyone. Oh, everybody can hear me now? Yes, Johnny Guitar. Ashwagandha is one of. There are five adaptogens that you need, but you're right on. But you need five. And again, Johnny, where are you getting the 70 minerals? You're not. Where are you getting a 91% absorption of amino acids? You're not. So using any food we have available to us in North America, you can't create the world's most perfect meal. That's why this worked. If they tried to do this with they had tried to do it with regular food for 38 years. It never worked. Well, I mean, people lost weight, but they gained it all back. What's the point of doing this if you're going to lose the weight only to gain it all back? I mean, what sense does that make? And that's what they said in this study. Well, truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricted calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to counter restrict their calories gain back more weight than they lost. Yes, because they're depleted. They lowered their food and the quantity and ignored the nutrition. The body doesn't care about food. It cares about nutrition. It runs the brain, and then the brain determines the lungs, kidney, all of our other functionality, all of our other organs. Plus the fact we're storing chemicals inside our visceral fat. And they proved in the studies that this was assisting the body in removing the chemicals from the body. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes? I wonder why, I don't know why let's see, the volume. I wonder if I can turn it up more. Let's see here, folks. Hello, hello? Yeah, I guess I can. I just figured out that I didn't even know I could do that. Can you do the gritty? Can you, Chair, I'm not sure, I don't even know what that means. Can you explain it to me? Oh, look at that. And I don't know these people. This is not staged. So apparently someone said they're doing the protocol and he's lost 16 pounds in 9 days. I don't know who that is. So don't think we staged this, okay? I mean, this podcast, just to know, it's going all over the world, okay? I got people in Australia and Japan. I don't even know, because I can't know everybody based on these podcasts. But ladies and gentlemen, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's the least important reason to do it. The reason to do it is to maximize your quality of life potential. Aren't you worth it? And how do you think you'd construct the world's most perfect meal when you only have 20 of 70 minerals? You have at best a 30% absorption of amino acids instead of 91%. And in this case, maybe you have one adaptogen called ashwagandha, which is good, but you need 5. See, that's what it's always about here. It's always about compromise. When you go on a diet, because even before you went on the diet, the food that's what I'm trying to point out to you. The food you're consuming is already nutritionally insufficient. So now you're lowering the quantity of that food. What do you think your body does? What do you think the brain does? It freaks out, goes in starvation mode, and stops you from burning fat. Hello. What are we doing? We're listening to influencers, and they're telling you, and with all due respect, I mean, they're telling you what they think they know. But here's what I would say to all of you. Oh, this is what the researchers said. They almost apologized to people and said, what if everything we thought we knew about diet, exercise, and nutrition was wrong, because it is, and they have the medical proof. You'll see there's an interview. Yes, Johnny Guitar, you're very smart. Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry, Chair. I don't do that. Have you had 2 women? What? What kind of disgusting comment is that? I mean, really? Really? That's your comment? Really? Well, it depends. I think glucose monitors are a lot better than sticking yourself every single day, but I don't think they're necessarily, the idea would be, could you reduce the amount of medication so as long as you have high protein? No, you don't get it. High protein is a poison to you. The protein itself that's not converted to an amino acid, you can look it up. They're called nitrogen catabolites, urea, creatine, ammonia, and glucose. No, that's the misinformation in the marketplace. It's not about the protein. It's about the absorption of the 20 amino acids inside any protein. That's what's weird, wrong. And in Europe, they proved it with blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. So that whole thing, not you in particular, I'm not picking on you. I get excited because it's so wrong. We have the proof that, for example, you do animal protein, steak, chicken, liver, whatever, 30% of the other 70%, the kidneys have to get rid of. If you've ever had a friend, God forbid, with kidney problems on kidney dialysis, they don't want to have any protein at all because the protein itself is like the shell of the walnut. I don't think you want to eat the shell of the walnut. The protein itself is non-usable by the human body. That's what they proved. That's why I'm telling you, if you try and do this with regular food, you're not going to produce the world's most perfect meal. Period. End of the story. Unless you think 20 minerals out of 70 somehow is going to make the world's most perfect food. Unless you think synthetic vitamins are going to be as good as naturally sourced vitamins. I mean, it's just, that's it, right? Could a glucose, okay, protein has all aminos. No, Lancelot, you're wrong. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the absorption. It's called net nitrogen utilization. Look it up. It has nothing to do with the amount of the protein. It has to do with the assimilation, the absorption, the efficacy of the amino acids themselves. This is not an opinion on my part. This is from these big studies in Europe apologize. We're not going to have a camera. So let me go look here. Everybody, hold on for a second. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta. There it is. Oh. See if that's working now. Hold on, everybody. Okay. There we go. Okay, I apologize for that. My camera was dying, and that's it. So, no, Van Dees, that's completely wrong. Let me explain it to you. Protein itself that's not converted into amino acids is a toxin to our body that the kidneys have to get rid of. That's the misinformation, at 1 gram of protein for every pound you weigh. It'd be like the difference between going to the gas station and buying a gallon of gas that takes you 20 miles versus getting a gallon of gas that takes you 100 miles. This was researched by the top researchers in the world. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. This is not my opinion. You can hold on to whatever belief you want. But the relevance is that steak, chicken, liver, fish, the absorption is only 30%. And if you are doing most shakes, they tested like 25 of the top shakes, the absorption of the amino acids when those shakes was 5 to 8%. It's a total, that's the whole point. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And where are you getting the 70 trace minerals? You're not. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is the misinformation that's out there in the world. They're telling you 1 to 2 grams of protein for every pound they weigh. Nonsense. And it's not my opinion. These are the top researchers in the world. So let's see. Yeah, you have to be on, yeah, that's right. If you eat protein, your liver shrink. Climb the mountain with me. So what do we eat? Okay, I'm going to do that in a second. Okay, yes, this guy is amazing. No, that's not true. So what's the best absorption protein then, mate? My mother lived on by 103 and took 1 a day vitamins only. She had no special diet and ate. Great genes, great. What about straight amino acids? Okay, Johnny, I'll recommend right now. I'll tell you all the way. There's a supplement. It's called Pure Amino. It's pure amino acids, but it has no minerals. It has no other benefits to it. Okay, I mean, it's not the same. It is not the same as getting it from your food and having your body process it. I mean, this is the misinformation that's out there. They prove that's not me. They're the top weight loss, nutrition, and physiologists in the world that put this together, and they have the medical proof. Because the people in the studies weren't even allowed to exercise, and they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle despite losing weight in 4 days. It took 6 to 8 weeks on diets. They lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, not by eating chicken, et cetera. I get animated because this is the problem. And we look around and they're telling things like a gram of protein per pound you weigh, and we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. And Johns Hopkins Medical School just came out and said study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. How are we doing? We're not doing too well. Now, look, here's the other thing. We have athletes, of course, that are doing this. We have people that want to gain weight. If you're an athlete, imagine if you could lower your visceral fat and increase your lean muscle. Of course. Because they've worked with Navy SEALs and the people that did this. It's not me. People always want to take me on. I'm the researcher of the research. I'm just bringing you the research. Do with it what you want. You can go to the website and see a podcast with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world, who is the head scientist who did these studies for 38 years. Listen to what he says about this protein absorption, et cetera. I don't fault you for what you're saying. That's what we've all been told. But again, what if everything you thought about diet, exercise, nutrition, protein was wrong? Because it is. It is. Climb the mountain. I will in a moment. Then they have deleted and poisoned our food. Why do people not understand that? What do you think about Calorie? Oh, I love Calorie and Casey Means. Love them, love. But you have to understand, I'm the father of all this. I wrote the definitive book on toxins 10 years ago. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. Me, registered trademark, the TDOS syndrome. Everyone, including me and you, everybody has it. Toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. I love them. As a matter of fact, I'm reaching out to her probably tomorrow but I was the one. This is a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. And to get a registered trademark, you submit your intellectual property to them, and they scan the world. Is there anything similar? I was the canary. I still am the canary in the coal mine. I'm against all social media because they're all telling you the same thing. Oh, well, have 120 grams of protein a day and, do 10,000 steps and drink. None of that. No, it doesn't work. Not that it's bad, but it's nonsense. I mean, I rely on people like Harvard Medical School when they're saying things like stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong. They said what we need to concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. That's exactly the point of what the researchers did. But understand, I appreciate all of you giving me opinions. But these are the top people in the world. And in case you didn't know, some of you may not. A peer-reviewed human trial study, you can't go higher in medical research. No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Yeah, and sometimes they get it wrong, but at least we have that safeguard. Isn't it ironic that there is no other diet, nutrition, exercise program in the world that ever initiated peer-reviewed human trial studies? And these researchers, they don't sell anything. They don't have a product. They're scientists. But for 38 years, after over 100 studies, thousands of people, they concluded one thing, that what we're doing is not working. Evidenced by the fact now we have 80% of America overweight. Today, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does any of you think it's working? This whole thing about 120, all they're doing, these influencers, they're just changing the name of what they're telling you. At the end of the day, all they're doing is showing you a way to reduce the amount of food you're consuming. They don't mention one scintilla about, well, they have no proof. They have no proof at all. They're giving you recipes, but the recipes are with food that we know is nutritionally insufficient. So again, you're putting 20 mile a gallon gas in your body instead of what the researchers found was 100 miles to the gallon. That's what makes this work. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. You can go on my social media sites and see the interviews that I did with the #1 nutritional researchers in the world, or you can go to the website. What's not working? Yes, it will increase testosterone. There's more people needing kidney dialysis, cancer. Yeah, exactly. You're all in. Let me put up here for all of you the website that you can go to totally for free. There's no gimmicks, no tricks. It's absolutely free to go there. Oh, why is that not posting? Hold on just a second. I don't know. Sometimes this thing is weird. The internet. I'm a researcher, not a aficionado of the internet. So just bear with me for just a second. Oh, Control V. Oh, there you go. The new health conversation. Let me put it up there again. That, for all of you, is an absolute free website. If you go there, we won't contact you. My books aren't for sale there. There's nothing for sale. It's the medical proof. I'll show it all to you right now so you'll see. Here's the website. And what's on there is just the medical proof for you to see. And if you like what you see, you can scroll down to the bottom and you can sign up for a free personal consultation. It's free. No gimmicks, no tricks. If you go to that website, we're not contacting you. I promise you, we're not going to contact you. We're way too busy to do that. But if you like it, you can scroll down, sign up for a free personal consultation with one of our coaches. It's not a trick. It's not a bait and switch. They're not there to sell you or convince you. They're there to answer your questions because we don't know anything about you. What if you want to gain weight, lose weight? What if you're an athlete? We got kids as young as 2. We got people 90. We have a man who had a heart transplant. We got people no thyroids, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, making any medical claims whatsoever. But this is basically it's the world's most perfect meal. That's what they ended up with. But then it wasn't just that. Then they figured out a completely different way of consuming. So for the new people, what did the researchers do to create? Let me go back to the website. Yes, people, this is not a bunch of bull. Men and women lost as much weight in 4 days as 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. They lost as much weight in 30 days as a year in any diet, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise allowed. No exercise. They even made them wear Fitbits to prove it because they're not against exercise, of course not. But they didn't want people to exercise because that would have been an outlier, wouldn't have been as true. So the researchers, their basic premise was all diets were some form of lowering the amount of food you were consuming. I don't care what name you want to assign to it. Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Paleo, Keto, Cornish diet, eat for your blood type, whatever. It's all some form of lowering the amount of, but they never talk about you lowering nutrition. So the researchers, that's what they set out to do. Could we lower the quantity of food consumed, but not lower the nutrition? Well, for 38 years, they'd used organic foods from North America, and it didn't work. So they limited the amount of food people would buy to do this protocol from the grocery store to between 30 and 40% of their total, whatever they're spending now. The other 60% of their budget went to buy these 5 foods, but these 5 foods came from around the world. They came from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, from Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand. And they created the world's most perfect meal. So here's how it worked. 5 days a week, they did a new way of consuming food called protein pacing, which involved breakfast was the world's most perfect meal. No other food. Be clear, no other food. Lunch from the grocery list that you would get. Dinner from the grocery list. And then a fourth meal after your normal dinner, a fourth meal, the world's most perfect meal. But remember, it's not based on quantity, it's based on quality. 5 days a week, that's what they did. 2 days a week, they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. What the heck is that? Not intermittent fasting, not time-restricted eating. On those days, they consumed no food from the grocery store. Only the world's most perfect meal, but this time 4 times a day, every 2 to 3 hours, they were eating something. Now, if you did do it, we also give you what they did in the research they created. It's called the Blueprint to Success, which these yellows you can see here, they're actually videos explaining to exactly what. Now, you have a live coach as well for free, but this is your daily guide. This is a virtual coach that's with you every single day. There's even, you'll see in here, there's even a calendar. I know you can't quite read it, but each day these are videos, tutorials with the world's #1 nutritional researcher who conducted the studies that's educating you about why this isn't a diet and why it worked. But again, let me go back to the researchers. They don't sell anything. It's not their food. They have no dog in this hunt other than the satisfaction that after 38 years, they're the ones that cracked the code on obesity. They're going to change the world. And all diets, as soon as they publish these, are obsolete. You can have whatever opinion you want. Have any of you ever been on a diet where you lost as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of dieting, lose as much weight in a month as a year on any diet, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle and lost no water? And that's the least important reason to do it, because in 30 days, people's blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically, and no diet has ever done this. They lowered inflammation, which according to the medical world is the root cause of every disease, by 25% in 30 days. People's hunger went down 41% in a month. And in 8 weeks, they shrank visceral fat. That's the belly fat. There's 2 kinds of fat. The outer layer fat called adipose or subcutaneous. The underlying fat called visceral shrank by 33% in 8 weeks with no exercise, no sit-ups, no crunches. I know you're skeptical. Great. The reason that yeah, climb the mountain with me. I love it. Okay, I've tried with stage 4, and he has kept his testosterone 0. I'm not sure, Johnny Guitar, I'm not quite sure. Yes, absolutely, but there's other things that we would do. We have several people. We have several, as a matter of fact, one of them may even be on here now. Now, look, we're making no medical predictions, okay? What I'm saying is just think about it. If you can give whoever your friend is massive amounts of nutrition, but look, my younger brother, unfortunately, in 2010, I'll share this with all of you. He was diagnosed with kidney cancer in 2010. He was 6'4", and when he died 8 months later, he weighed 112 pounds. He wasted away to nothing. I didn't know any of this then, okay? But I've worked with one of the top oncologists in the world, and the main thing with cancer you don't want people to do is to lose weight, because because what are they losing when they have cancer? They're losing lean muscle. And I already explained in the beginning, when you go on a diet, your body, when there's not enough nutrition, which is the case on any diet, the body will convert the muscles into fuel. But that is not the worst part. The other worst part is the body absolutely reduces the effectiveness of the immune system. That's why diets are not doing something for you. They're doing something to you. We have the medical proof now. It's not up for debate, okay? It's like that's the medical proof. So again, without making any promises to your friend, I would definitely sign up for a free consultation and put on there if it's a cancer patient or person, then we'll have one of the people who has dealt with this, has gone through it, their own cancer. There was one of them on here, I think, earlier, but don't worry about that for right now. Thank you, Johnny. Yeah, it was a horrible... I loved my brother. Can you imagine 6'4" when he died? He weighed 112 pounds. He went through radiation and chemo, and unfortunately, in the radiation, they cut his spine in half. He was paralyzed at the end. It was really. I still have his last voice message in my phone, et cetera. We're not curing, we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, making any medical proclamations. But just think about it in general, everyone. If you can simply give your body this massive amount of nutrition that you can't get from your best intentions with regular food, you're not going to produce the world's most perfect meal. But the whole idea to this, for those that do it, R2M stands for race to maintenance, is to get you to your goal. And then it's as simple as here's the point. Why wouldn't you want to have the world's most perfect meal at least once a day? At least once a day. A lot of people do it. They still do morning and afternoon, and they have lunch and dinner. And it's not like forever that you can't have Haagen-Dazs or, pizza, but your hunger goes down dramatically. That's what's so cool about this. I know I'm dealing with total skepticism. I get it. It's okay. But the reason that we invite you to go to the website, which I'm going to put up there again because there's so many comments coming on here, is the new health conversation. Hi, Peter. I have a quick update. Okay, the David 71. Go ahead, David. Let's see. But anyway, all of you, it's a free website. There's no tricks. If you go there, we will not contact you. Do you get it? We're not contacting you. But you can contact us if you like what you see. Isn't that fair? And then you can do a free consultation with one of our coaches who've done the program and been trained. But here, what diet out there is offering you have to eat anyway. So like 40% of the food you're buying is from the grocery store. Okay, that's a given. But only 30% or 40% of what you're spending now, the other 60% of your budget goes to these 5 foods. But where are you going to get that level of nutrition? You're not. Let's see. Okay, Baba, please go. Bart, the best thing to do is to go to the website. You can see it there. I have my pointer on it, the new health conversation. And here, Bart, we will not contact you. Please be clear. We don't do that. We want you to have the freedom to go, and there's nothing to buy on that website. So even though I've written 4 best-selling books, my books aren't for sale. I don't want any of you buying my books. The idea of the website was to provide the most current, up-to-date information. One of the medical studies, which was just published about 8 weeks ago in Nature Communications, the number one medical journal in the world, has nothing to do with weight loss. It had to do with the gut. With our gut bacteria. It's called the microbiome. And I can kind of talk to that because myself and my colleague, who is one of the top oncologists in the world, we wrote this book, Your Third Brain, about 10 years ago, the definitive book on recognizing that our gut is way more than just a collection of microbes, bacteria, etc. And now in the had nothing to do with us. The researchers submitted unbelievable improvements in the gastrointestinal function of the people in the study. See, it's not a weight loss program. I wish you all would understand that. We have athletes that want to gain weight. I have one of the top celebrity trainers in Hollywood who's a friend of mine. I won't mention his name, but he started, this was about 8 years ago when I met him, and of course he was very arrogant, and I told him that. Well, I can get any. No, you can't, you've never done this. So he said, all right, I got a photo shoot in about 3 weeks with Armour, if all you're familiar with Armour, the athletic line. And anyway, he started at 12% body fat. I would kill to be 12% body fat. Listen to this. In 14 days, he went from 12% body fat to 5% body fat and gained 5 pounds of lean muscle. His before and after, you would swear he went to a Halloween shop, it's almost Halloween, and bought like an ab suit or something. It's crazy. It's not a weight loss program. If you think the main reason to do this is to lose weight, you're on the wrong podcast. It's about maximizing your quality of life potential and maintaining it. That's why it's called R2M, race to maintenance. It's not about, can we get the weight off? You just see there. How excited would you be if you, the main thing, we tell you on the 5th morning, you will think your scale's broken. You won't believe it. Oh my God, this has to be unhealthy. It's not unhealthy. They proved it. People didn't lose water and gained, not lost, lean muscle. See, that's why in all these diets they say don't lose more than a pound a week or 2 weeks because it's unhealthy because they're losing lean muscle. I went over and over and over this. Here's New York Times. They highlighted this study done in the Journal of the American Medical Association, where the people did this time-restricted eating, where you don't eat for 16 hours, eat for 8. Let me read the Journal of American. This is from the New York Times. Their comment on this study. Now, I'm not giving you opinions, okay? The JAMA study, the new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between noon and 8, popularly known as the 16-8 diet, gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds. And most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. It's every study. They're losing up to 40% of the lean muscle, including, this was a big study done in the New England Journal of Medicine. One group of people, 12 months, one group of people lowering calories, pretty much all the diets you've ever been on. The other group did time-restricted eating, where they didn't eat for 16 hours, ate 12 months. The people who lowered calories lost 16 pounds in a year. In a year. The people who did time-restricted eating lost 12.6 pounds in a year. And they went on to say both those lowering calories to lose weight and those doing intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, lost up to 40% of their lean muscle mass. Now, again, I'm going to say something, and I want all of you to be clear. I'm not against the shots. Someone even commented about the GLP-1s. You hear Ozempic, semaglutide, et cetera. But let's look at the medical evidence. The New England Journal of Medicine, by the way, they are helping diabetics. I'm a supporter of that. And they're helping people that are extremely overweight or just people that are overweight. But again, with any drug, there's a side effect. So let's look at the medical evidence. New England Journal of Medicine, you can look this up. It's on semaglutide. It was a 68-week study, a year and 4 months. In 68 weeks, the average weight loss for people was 32 pounds in 68 weeks. And right in the study, it said 40% of what the people lost was lean muscle mass. So we're working with people now that are on the shots in conjunction with them to prevent them or slow down the loss of lean muscle. Because talk to anybody that's coming off the shots, they're gaining as much as a half a pound a day. Because what's the shot doing? Lowering the quantity of food you're consuming. That's what I've been talking about on this podcast the whole time. That's why diets don't work long term. Because you're setting yourself up for failure. Because when your body doesn't have enough nutrition, the brain triggers starvation mode and forces you to stop burning fat and convert your muscles into carbohydrates. I don't care what the diet is, that's what's going on. Despite what these influencers are telling you, which they have no medical proof to back up what they're telling you, but we believe it because maybe they're a medical doctor, maybe they're a chiropractor, maybe they're a dietitian, maybe they're a nutritionist, maybe they're a workout person, with all due respect, or a weight loss or a health coach. But honest to gosh, if we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic, can anybody put in the chat thinking that diets work long term? I wrote the definitive book back in 2010, Why Diets Are Failing Us, with 4 upgrades since then because so much new. Look, I was, like with anything else, there were a lot of critics. What do you mean? The only way to lose weight is to lower calories. Really? A little problem with that, and the human body doesn't even know what a calorie is and doesn't count calories because a calorie is just a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. That's it. No. What the key, and Harvard now has come out and said, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong because we need to concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food we're See, this is the difference. These medical researchers, 38 years, they figured out what didn't work. What didn't work was any diet where you're lowering the amount of food and quantity of food and not stabilizing or increasing the amount of nutrition. Because now your body, it doesn't run on calories. It doesn't even know what a calorie is. Am I making sense to anybody? Do you all get this? And yet, what do we offer you? A free medical website. Yeah, Johnny, I tried yerba mate. Again, nonsense. There's no yerba mate. They keep talking about. They have no proof. Unless you have peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, it's a conversation. It's yak. I had a big radio. Someone told me yesterday, one of the big radio on one of the big talk shows was bragging. He lost 12 pounds. And he was all excited. In 6 months. We got people losing 12 pounds in 4 days. Come on. It's a joke. Although it's not a joke, it's very serious. Right now, we have 50% of Americans pre-diabetic. 33% of our kids are pre-diabetic. That's insane. What are we doing? Do you know that teenagers, about 66 and 2/3 of what they're consuming is from ultra-processed food, not just processed, ultra-processed. Look at the ADD epidemic, but look at the diabetes. And I think I got the study here, I do. This is a new study that came out between 2012 and 2022. The rate of type 2 diabetes has increased by 20%, according to a study published in Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism. See the difference with us? We don't give you opinions. If you want opinions, plenty of people on social media. We're all about the research. But it's not my research. It even says that in there. Let me put the website up there again. Okay, hold on just a second for everybody. There's so many people coming on with comments. It's great. There you can see it, the new health conversation. We're only about, unless we have medical proof. Now, let me fess up. Total transparency. I've written, I'm not telling you this to impress you, but I want to press upon you. I did 20 shows on PBS. I've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America. I've done all kinds of radio and I've done over 1,500 lectures all over the world. I've spoken in hospitals. I've spoken in universities. I've been invited by towns to speak. They flew me to China, because of the TDOS syndrome, which everybody in the world, including in China, they all have TDOS syndrome. The thing is, like someone asked me about Casey and Kaylee Means. I love them. They've recognized the problem, which I identified more than 10 years ago, but they have no solution. That's why I want to get a hold of them, because I tell them, well, you can do whole foods and exercise. No. We've destroyed the soil in this country. It's becoming more and more nutritionally. You know, there are projections right now that in 60 or 70 years, the topsoil in this country is going to be dust. It's not my opinion. You could go look it up yourself. Look up the foods. Look up the crash in the nutrition. Let's go one step farther. You don't think it's North America. Oh, it's only in the United States. No. The Lancet, one of the biggest medical journals in the world, completed a study in March of 2024, 5 months ago. It's 5 months ago or 6, whatever. It's this year. They said, we now estimate 1 billion people worldwide are clinically obese, not overweight. And they're saying making obesity the leading form of malnutrition in the world. They went on to say most people don't understand that people that are undernourished or obese suffer from malnutrition because they're not getting the right amounts of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. That has been the point of this whole, all the podcasts I do, is to at least make you aware. There's nothing wrong with whole foods or organic, but it's a fraction of what it used to be and a fraction of what you need. And I say it with all due respect. You have no idea how bad you feel right now until you realize how good you could feel. Does it make sense if you need 70 minerals? And what are minerals called? The spark plugs of life. It'd be like your car. You got an 8-cylinder car and you disconnect 6 of the cylinders. Yeah, it'll probably still run. Or be like taking a Ferrari and putting 80 octane gas in it. It'll run. Right. The principle here, what the researchers figured was, look, instead of giving people food that would take them 20 miles on a gallon, I'm just using a gas analysis. I mean, obviously they're not drinking gasoline. Versus giving them a gallon of gas to go 100 miles. That's what they did. Did they know what was going to happen? How could they? It was a theory. And when they got the blood work back and started to see the changes in people, they were shocked. And you have to understand, they don't publish the peer-reviewed human trial studies, the scientists. They submit their studies to the 7 medical journals. I'm going to read what ones are in. The Obesity Journal, Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, and Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. This is a huge deal. This isn't some scientific study that the companies did. These, the fulfillment companies that supplied these foods, for 25 years, they've been sounding the alarm. Our food's becoming, and those 5 foods, you can't buy them in a grocery store. And by the way, you don't buy them from us. You get to buy it directly from them. Period. That's why most people feel going on this. They're probably not spending really any more money than they're spending now on their food budget. This is going to replace, what does it replace? We figured it out there. There's 90 meals in a month, and I think this replaces almost 70 meals that you're not buying the food for. Do you get it? But you're substituting food that's nutritionally insufficient with the most nutrient-dense food in the world to create the world's most perfect meal that you've got to have 5 days a week for breakfast and a 4th meal after your dinner and 2 days a week. only the world's most perfect food 4 times a day. Does that make sense to everybody? And again, I'm going to show all of you the website so you don't think I'm making up. There's nothing to buy on that website. It's only the medical proof, including, you can see, exclusive podcasts with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world who conducted the studies. And right in it, he says, they'll never, listen to me, never recommend a traditional form of dieting ever again. So, Peter, it would be unethical. Why would we tell our patients to take 8 weeks to lose weight that's unhealthy, because up to 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass and water, versus people on this, in 4 days, they lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean. Can you imagine losing weight to make yourself healthier? Because the main reason to do this is not to fit in your skinny jeans. Not that that's bad. I mean, I lost 40 pounds 21 years ago. I've kept it off for 21 years. That's what matters. Doing this to lose, if you think that's your only goal, to lose weight, don't do it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Don't waste our time. Because our coaches are devoted. We even have MDs, we have nutritionists, we have our PAs and registered nurses and people that have experienced it, that have had just life-changing results. We're not going to let you do this by yourself. It's not some, hey, here's 3 recipes, go for it. That's not it. This is complicated. But we give you exactly, the researchers help create, it's called the Blueprint for Success, which is daily. There's even a calendar in here that each day you get a 10 to 12 minute, you probably can't read it. You can see this. This is the calendar of what you do each day, what you consume, when you consume, but also why you're consuming it and what they saw in the medical trials. Who's giving you that? It's not me doing it. But the researchers, they want this research to go out to humanity. They've spent 38 years looking for the silver bullet for obesity. They found it and proved it, and they have the medical proof to back it up. There's no diet. I mean, the studies that are being done on diets aren't done by the diet people. These researchers were willing to submit their reputations to these big medical journals. Because you know what happens if you submit your study and when they review it, their job is to disprove what you're claiming. That's why no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Thank goodness. And sometimes they get it wrong. But it's the highest ethical standard in medical research, are peer-reviewed human studies done on human beings, reviewed by top people that have nothing. They don't work for the journals. The journals hire them to discredit because the journal wants to protect their reputation. They don't want to publish a study that then is later debunked. It does happen sometimes. That's why this is such a big deal. I mean, is anybody going to argue with the fact if you could safely lose as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of dieting, that wouldn't excite you? You aren't a little bit curious to spend a few minutes to go to the website and see the medical proof? I don't want you to believe Peter Greenlight. It doesn't matter. You can see behind me. Those are my 4 books I've written. I actually have them here. But that's not important. You can't buy my books on that website, nor do I want you to. That's why I didn't put my books on there, because then people would accuse me, oh, well, he's tricking us to go to the website to buy his books. No, I'm not. I don't need to do that. In 21 years, we've helped over 500,000 people that have probably lost cumulative somewhere around 5 million pounds or more. And a huge percentage of those people have been able to keep the weight off now for, 20, well, in my case, 21 years, actually going on 22 years, to be quite honest. Am I making sense to all of you? Do all of you understand this? Because I would also appreciate it if you put in the comments, why wouldn't you go to the website? Because you think I'm lying? Because you think you're going to go there and we're going to call you? We're not calling you. We don't need to. We rely on the medical proof, not on hype. I mean, you want hype? There's plenty of people on social media that give you hype with no medical evidence. They give you opinions. I mean, honestly, can anybody... Let's see, down 26 pounds, 25, stop. Wow, the David 71, that's amazing, David. Wow, that's incredible. Johnny Guitar Pro, not average, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Down 26 pounds, 24 pounds, I stopped my arthritis. How long did it take you? I'm just curious, David, I don't know who you are. Oh, 26 days, 24 pounds. You understand, everyone, I don't know this person. I mean, maybe they're making up, but we see this all the time. That's what I'm saying, look at that. In the medical studies I read to you, where is it? In the New England Journal of Medicine, they took 12 months to lose 16 pounds. This gentleman, 26, what? Day 20, down 24 pounds in 26 days. Go on paleo, go on keto, go on Mediterranean, By the way, in one of the studies that was done in the obesity journal, which I have here, the people in this study were contrasted with people they put on the Mediterranean diet in the studies. In these studies, the people in the Mediterranean, in case you don't know, the Mediterranean diet has been voted the #1 diet 7 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. What were the results? The Mediterranean diet, it took people 8 months to lose 10 pounds. And 40% of what they lost was lean muscle. And the people on the Mediterranean diet, when they followed up within a year, they'd gained back all their weight. Well, I just told you, well, look at this. I mean, the average in the studies was 16 pounds in a month for men and women with no exercise. So I don't know, maybe he exercised, et cetera. But David 71, thank you very much for that input. I know all of you are shocked. I know all of you are skeptical. You'd have to be. But what if? Not what if. You understand when there were peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, they're irrefutable. Why would you just go and follow an influencer who's giving you an opinion? As nice as they might be, as fancy as they're writing on the board, and they got charts and whatever. But do they have any medical proof? I haven't seen it. Maybe someone can put in the chats. Yes, every day. Not this though, Johnny. As I said, Johnny, I lost 40 pounds 21 years ago. I've kept it off for 21 years. But most people on this don't yo-yo because you're not, Johnny, the reason they yo-yo doesn't make sense to you is because on every diet, they're losing up to 40% of the lean muscle mass. By definition, that slows down your metabolism. That's why people yo-yo on these diets. They're losing weight, but 40% is lean muscle mass. By definition, it's absolutely going to force them to slow down their metabolism, and they gain all their weight back. But I read to you, Johnny, from that one study. Okay, I don't want you to believe me, any of you. Here, why you shouldn't count calories. In this big study, they said, truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories gain back more weight than they lost. Johnny, that's worse than yo-yo. That's what's happening. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. A huge reason why I became a researcher 23 years ago. She called me up one day and she said, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could just spend 24 hours thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, my mom died of a massive heart attack and stroke. She was in her 60s. I loved her. It didn't matter that she was overweight. So any of you that are, suffering, I saw the jokes and the whispering behind her back and all those kind of things as I was growing up as a kid. But I loved her. It didn't matter. So understand that a major reason why I became my mother is why. My mother did about every diet you could imagine, from Scarsdale to Atkins. I guess Atkins was Scarsdale or became whatever. But Jenny Craig, not Jenny Craig, but Weight Watchers. She did OptiFast. She'd cut diets out of the National Enquirer. Every time on every diet, I saw her lose 20 pounds and gain 25 back, lose 25 and gain 30 back. I can't prove it, but my mom, I think, basically dieted herself to death. Dieted herself to death. I miss her. It didn't matter that she was morbidly obese. I loved her. Her heart, it didn't change who she was just because of the shape. So a huge motivator for me is to make... We're not here to convince you or sell you. If you think that, then I've done a horrible job on this podcast. We're here to make you aware of what's available, of the possibilities. Just like the title says, imagine if it were possible to lose as much weight safely in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks. You know how much that would have psyched up my mom if she could have lost as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of any diet she'd ever been on? I don't know. Maybe she would have gotten that. All she wanted was 24 hours, not a week, just 1 day. It's really sad. And I wish, and of course I can't, I wish I could have known then what I know now, but that would be impossible because this wasn't even available, right? It's not a diet. That's exactly right. Why won't they say what it costs? Some PPL can't. No, you don't understand. The consultation is 100% free. Then they'll determine what your costs will be because, again, we don't know what if you want to gain weight? I have a guy right now, he's 33, he's 5'11", weighs 650 pounds. Well, that's going to be a lot. We have a 2-year-old on this. We have a grandma 90. We have athletes. It's all, look, we're not trying to trick you. Don't get so hung up on the cost before you even understand what it might mean for you. you have to understand that you're probably not going to spend any more money than you are now on food, but the food you're consuming is, for the most part, nutritionally insufficient. And what's it doing? What's it doing for you? What is it doing for you? It's doing something to you. So Mama Frey, I just went over that. I just said about 30 to 40% of what you're spending now, you'd buy from the grocery store. But the other 60% that you're buying for food now, you could actually spend less money. You could end up starting out on kind of the maintenance in reverse and doing one of the world's most perfect meals for breakfast every morning to get started. Your food budget will go down, not up. So that's why, and I'm not trying to be evasive. People think I'm trying to be evasive. Why would I do that? Yeah, and you have the medical proof that this really works. Yeah, it's not a diet. Oh, thank you. Climb the mountain with me. I mean, I hope most of you get the point that we want to try and help you if we can by making you aware, not by selling you, twisting your arm, or tricking you, okay? When I was underweight until after my second pregnancy. Yeah, Ocean Gigi. And I'm just curious, what have you tried in the meantime? And I mean, is it supporting what I'm talking about? The fact, and again, and I don't, listen, I'm not showing this book because I want you to buy my book. I don't want you to buy my book. But I did write the definitive book, Why Diets Are Failing Us, back in 2010. It was a huge bestseller on Amazon. And I was taken on by the medical community saying, well, the only way to lose weight is to lower, decrease calories. Well, now Harvard Medical School has said, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong. They said concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food you're consuming. See, that's the thing for any of you that are dealing with this cost issue. I don't know what your total food budget is. But most people are shocked when they really do this. They say, I'm spending less on food than I ever did, including buying the world's most perfect foods that make the world's most perfect meal. You can't do that now I don't care what organic food you have. It's not possible. Because for example, are you going to go to Manchuria and Mongolia and bring back the adaptogens? Where are you going to get 70 trace ionic minerals? Because organic has 20 and you need 70. You see what I'm saying? We would love to support you if we can. And again, we'd rather have you maybe walk before you run. If cost isn't, I don't know, because we don't know anything about you. What if you want to gain weight? Like I said, we have 2-year-olds on this. Well, they're not doing, obviously, the full program, and it depends what you want to do. Look, I know what I'm fighting is the skepticism that you probably built up over the years because you've tried everything and nothing has ever worked. This is not another one of those things. It's the only weight loss program ever with 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies proving everything that I'm saying. I'm just sharing what's in the studies. Nothing's my opinion. If you want opinions, there's plenty of places you can go. Look, they're charging you for recipes. Really? They are. We're showing you all the medical evidence for free. Then we do a free consultation with one of our free. There's no price for the consultation. I don't know where people read into that. What does free mean? It means free. But how could you determine if you can afford it or not if you don't find out in your particular case what you need or want to do? We don't know that. It would be unfair to you for me to, check the boxes. Here's 3. This isn't about recipes. This is about a completely different way of consuming food in different amounts at different times. That's what I call protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. But look at the results. What if you could lose weight in 4 days that took you 6 to 8 weeks on diets? Would that empower you to continue? No, I'm sorry. I don't, look, we don't, let's get this clear. We don't sell anything. We make it available from the fulfillment companies that they're the ones that supply it, not us, okay? So, okay, so again, Ocean Gigi, I'm just curious about where you are now in terms of when I was underweight until after my second pregnancy. So have you gained the weight? Are you struggling getting it off? I'm just curious to help everybody else. It's the same process. Huh, really? I didn't know that. I don't know how much semaglutide costs. Let's see. The Black Historian struggling. Okay. It's hard to get past 173. You're talking on as far as your weight loss, and then again, all right, for everybody, again, let me put the website up there so you can see it. And again, please understand it's free to go to that website and see the medical proof. We're not there trying to trick you. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, there's the website. It's totally free to go there. We won't contact you. Let me see. The Black Historian, get off those food stamps by prayer work. Okay, well, maybe that's a good thing to do. But I don't understand. It's hard to get past 173. Is that what you weigh now, 173? I'd need to know how tall you are, etc. Calling at me, laugh out loud. No one is on the Black Historian. Climb the mountain with me, laugh out loud. No one is on food stamps. I don't know. I can't be part of those comments because I don't know anything about it. Okay, honestly, I don't. My role is the researcher to bring in the research to show you, and if you want to do it, great. CD hit, some guy said that. Oh, okay. It never came off, and I gained more. Currently taking GOP when nothing else worked. Okay. So if you don't mind, Ocean GG, how tall and how much do you weigh? And I'll give you a real assessment because I just told you about the GLP. In this case, semaglutide. It took them 68 weeks to lose 32 pounds, and 40% of their weight loss was lean muscle. I'm working with tons of people on Ozempic, GLP, semaglutide, et cetera, that are in the same position that you're in. I weighed 180 less. Okay. How long did it take you to lose 15 pounds? I weighed 189, lost 15 pounds. So you got down to, actually 174. And what, you can't lose weight anymore? But what did you do to do it? I'm getting confused. I got Ocean GG and then I got the Black Historian. So I need to clarify between the two of you. So Ocean GG, I gained more, currently taking GLP when nothing else worked. Okay. So Ocean GG, how excited would you be if you lost as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of any diet? Wow. 6 weeks to lose 15 pounds? What a joke. Okay. Ocean GG 192. Okay. She took GLP-1. Okay. So Ocean GG, I'm not kidding you. You easily will lose as much weight in 4 days as in 6 to 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. So let's just say 5'3", 192. What do you think? You probably won't like the answer I'll give you, but I'll give you the first right of refusal here. So you're 5'3", 192. What do you think you should weigh? Now, again, don't give me a diet number. Give me, if you got to that number, you'd be on your front porch yelling, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is real. So let me know what you... Yeah, Johnny, she took GLP-1, but the problem with GLP-1, like I told you, Johnny, 40% of what they're losing is lean muscle mass. Okay, you probably won't like it, Ocean GG. It's more like, let's do 132 just because that'll be 60 pounds. It's probably going to be more than that. Okay, Ocean Girl, based on the numbers that I see in the first 4 days, you'll probably lose 6 to 8 pounds, just to give you an idea, okay? That's in the first 4 days. So I would say 60 pounds at the outside, maybe 2.5 months. Remember, this is without exercise. Keep that in mind, please. Okay, Ocean GG. I know it sounds crazy, but Ocean GG, the first 30 days is 100% money back guarantee. And you're getting the food. Even if you consume all the food, they'll still give you all your money back if you're unhappy, if it didn't work, whatever the reason. That's why this is so crazy good. And you get a free coach. You're not an experiment. Okay, you're not an experiment. We know what the heck we're doing. You just saw the guy that came on 24 pounds in 26 days. I don't know who it is. What do you think? I'm paying these people to come on? And no, they don't do that. They've been following me. I got people all over the world now because the one thing I'm so happy about, we're the ones with the medical proof. It sounds crazy that much weight in 2 to 3 months. I know, climb the mountain, but we see it all the time. You saw the guy come on, he lost 24 pounds in 26 days. Hello. All right? No, actually, Johnny, that's not true. Okay, it's not about her anatomy. I'm just telling you, at that height, that's about what she should weigh, okay? Yeah, I know, climb the mountain. Look, all of you, please be skeptical. Don't get mad at me for sharing the research. It's not, you understand, when you have peer-reviewed human trial studies, you can't mess, they're in the public domain. There's no editing it. It's And that's why these diet companies won't ever go with a peer-reviewed human trial study on their own, because they'd be exposed for what they're claiming has no basis in fact. Do you get it? Like these people talking about, time-restricted eating. Oh, the majority of what you lose is fat. Wrong. New York Times just said right here that the people that did time-restricted eating, 3 months, they lost 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the majority of what they lost was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. That's why they won't do it. Would you go on time-restricted eating to lose 2 or 3 pounds in 3 months? Who's going to sign up for that? That's the thing. They don't have any medical proof. They're giving you opinions. Oh, wonderful. Climb the mountain with me. That's absolutely great. And again, Ocean Gigi, for your, you used to weigh 95. No, we don't want to get you down. Well, I mean, we could joke. Most people, listen to all of you. How many would you do? How much of you would do this? How many of you would give anything to get down to the weight on your driver's license? That can't be me. The photo, they put on. No, that's what's going on. Look, if we have 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic, and let me find it here. Yeah. John Hopkins Medical School study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese in 5.5 years. What are we doing? And it doesn't cost you anything to go to the website. And we're not going to contact you. Don't think that. Because if you go there thinking we're going to contact you, you're wrong. Only way we'll contact you is if you contact us, by filling out that form that says sign up for a free personal consultation. Do you all get this? Let's see, who else? You got me, okay. I want to weigh 145 to 150. Okay, easily, okay? Climb the mountain with me, I weigh 174. And how tall are you climbing the mountain with me? I'm more curious of that title. Do you live, because I'm in Colorado. I live in Colorado. So when you say climb the mountain, we have mountains here. So again, I weigh 174, okay. And, okay. Yeah, probably, well, easily we can get you to 145. So let's just round it off and say that's 30 pounds. Again, for you, you'll probably lose 6 to 8 pounds in the first 4 days with no exercise. That's the norm. Okay, somebody put the website again up there for you, the new health conversation. Look, can we agree to disagree? I'm not here to sell you, and I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to give you an opportunity to maximize your quality of life potential. The main reason to do this is I know it's a noble goal, and we will get you down to 145 easily, okay? But the idea is we would be failing you if we didn't show you how to maintain that. Because climb the mountain, maybe you heard me say it, I lost 40 pounds almost 22 years ago. I've kept it off for all that time. That's why the researchers call it R2M, race to maintenance, because these studies started like 4 or 5 years ago. They've tracked the people. I know one guy lost 150 pounds. He's kept it off now for almost 5 years. This is not a diet. Please, everyone understand. It's not a diet. Don't do this to lose weight. That's the least important part. Because again, climb the mountain. Imagine in 30 days, you're going to gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, even if you don't exercise. You're going to lose no water weight. You're going to have energy. Your brain, I can't explain it to you because this is experiential. That's what people tell me all the time. They're really excited about the number on the scale, but they said, I can't believe the way I feel, my energy. How many of you would give anything for a little more energy? How about less stress? How about sleeping better at night? How about a whole host of other things you take for granted, those little aches and pains caused by what? Inflammation. It went down 25% in 30 days. No diet's ever done that. I would invite all of you, run to that website. At least you'll satisfy your own curiosity or skepticism. But you've got to understand those are peer-reviewed human trial studies. I'm going to show all of you the website again. There's nothing on this website to buy. My books aren't there. There's exclusive podcasts with the number one research weight loss guy in the world. There are the actual studies that you can click on and go and see them. And then you can see that there are before and afters, which just are, the weight loss, I can't show it on social media or they'd ban me. There are people that lost 100 pounds. They have no loose skin. There are athletes, and wait till you see the transformation in 11 days from day one when they were already in shape to 11 days later. So that's why I keep saying don't do this to lose weight. That is not the main reason to do it. The main reason to do it, believe it or not, is to empower your own body to remove the chemicals that we're storing inside of us. I told you all, and somebody said about Kaylee and Casey Means, I love them. They're great. They're highlighting this. I discovered this medical syndrome. It was me. The TDOS syndrome. Everybody, me, you, everybody in the world has it. Toxicity driven by the D is deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. These chemicals are main reason why you're overweight or why you can't lose weight or why you've plateaued that no GLP-1 or Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or paleo or intermittent fasting is dealt with. I'm going to read again for you what the don't believe me, but let's look at what the world experts, well, kind of believe me because I did discover the medical syndrome. But listen to this. The Endocrine Society, the largest organization of experts devoted to research on hormones and the clinical practice of endocrinology, reports that the rise in the incidence of obesity matches the rise in the use and distribution of industrialized chemicals. They give them a name. They call these chemicals obesogens. Wait till you hear this. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal system, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our body from a variety of sources: natural compounds in soy, hormones fed to animals, plastics in food packaging, chemicals added to processed food, and pesticides sprayed in our produce. Listen to this. They act in a variety of ways, mimicking human hormones such as estrogen, blocking the action of other hormones such as testosterone men, and in some cases, not in all cases, essentially reprogram us to gain weight. Did you know about obesogens before this podcast? Are any influencers telling you about obesogens that we're all, including them, are storing them inside our bodies? And another big expert says this. Frederick von Saul, PhD, professor of biological science, University of Missouri, Columbia, has stated, obesogens are hijacking the regulatory systems that control body weight. So there's a second expert saying this, but listen to this. This presence of obesogens is the first reason that traditional dieting methods have become outdated. Never before have traditional low carbohydrate, low calorie diets been forced to accommodate for this level of synthetic chemicals and the adverse effects they have on the body. The body's attempt to protect itself from the constant assault of synthetic toxins results in the production and storage of fat. That's what you're up against. No diet has ever touched this. These researchers in these new studies, in this R2M protocol, their first goal, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. They proved that this protocol was removing herbicides, pesticides, Scotchgard, Teflon, and even plastics from the body. That's the main reason to do this. And what happened as a result? This unbelievable weight loss. Did you see? Well, let me put it back on the screen. Sorry, everybody. I get so carried away. I am nuts and I'm crazy and whatever. And, you all can hold that against me. But science doesn't care about Peter Greenlaw. It doesn't. Science, it has no emotions, unlike me. It has no agenda. It just is. None of these other diets have one shred of medical evidence. So for years and years and years, what have we been doing? Counting calories. And the problem keeps getting worse. I should have told you in this John Hopkins study, they said in 2018, 2008, sorry, so 16 years ago. What's today? It's 2024, so that's 16 years. What the hell happened? I lost my glasses here, folks. I don't really need them, I suppose, but I'm going to put them back on. Anyway, they said in 2008, 62% of the population was obese or overweight. Now they're projecting in 2030, that would be 22 years later, it's going to be 86% overweight and obese in 5.5 years. That's like a 40% increase. Do any of you, do you understand now why diets are failing us? Because they are. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Like someone come on before and they were arguing with me about, well, you need 1 gram of protein for every pound you weigh. Nonsense. The medical evidence now proves that's the worst thing you could ever do because it's not about the protein. It's about the amino acid, the absorption of the 20 amino acids that are contained in any protein that you get from plants or an animal. Well, these new studies in Europe about 8 years ago called net nitrogen utilization, that's the medical term for it. But what they did when you ingest a protein from a plant or an animal, they could tell you what percentage, 0 to 100 of the 20 amino acids were absorbed in our body. Well, sadly, vegan proteins are about 10% absorption. 90% is toxic waste. They're called nitrogen catabolites. All meat, steak, chicken, liver, fish, etc., are 30%. Well, these researchers found a source that had 91% absorption. That was just one of the things that they included to make what? The world's most perfect meal. But the medical evidence You have the energy. Okay. Maintaining is a key. Yeah. Okay. So climb the mountain. That's great. Johnny Guitar, cortisol. Yeah. I just told you that the adaptogens massively lower stress, which is driven by what? By cortisol. Johnny, I would say, what time is it? It's 7:30 Eastern time. If not tonight, no later than probably tomorrow morning. I don't know how busy we are, but I would say normally we're very on top of it. Try to get back to people within 24 hours or less. Okay. Yeah, I see that. Climb the mountain. I'll see if I can get someone to call you back. I can't promise you yet today because it is a little bit late, but if not, certainly tomorrow. But climb the mountain. It sounds like you've been on this path. I don't know anything about you. I've never met you, so let's be clear to everybody, right? But I'm just curious as to, maybe what you've tried in the past, or is your main focus here? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to get healthier? Any of those things are. Oh, Dan, okay. So I will climb the mountain. I guess that's one of our coaches. I didn't even know they were on here. I'll send your inquiry to him when I get done with this podcast, and then I guess he'll reach out to you right away. Okay, you just happen to luck out because I never know who's going to be on these. Sometimes the coaches are on, sometimes they're not, et cetera. But that's great. Okay, Dan, and I'll send you to climb the mountain. I'll send you his information as soon as we hang up. I want to be healthy. Okay. Well, I can tell you, ironically, that Dan is probably one of my top coaches, period. So way to go, Dan. I'm glad you were on here for Climb the Mountain. I'll be curious to know, Climb the Mountain. Maybe Dan will tell me if it goes well, what your actual name is, because that's really but do you live in a part of the country where they have mountains? That's what okay. I want to get rid of type 2 diabetes. We're not going to make any medical claims, folks, okay? But, one thing you'll love, Climb the Mountain, the chemist who invented this more than 25 years ago was a diabetic, and originally it was invented for him. So, let me share this with you, Climb the Mountain. Oh, you're in Florida. Well, obviously you're not did you used to live in Montana or in Colorado? It's just very curious. But so anyway, let me tell you about the diabetics that went through the process, and you can see it. So as you probably know, if you are a type 2 diabetic, are you on glucophage or metformin or semaglutide or Ozempic or insulin, whatever? But we know that the drugs, and thank goodness we have them without other solution, they force your blood sugar down. But as you probably know, one of the side effects is when you lower that blood sugar on these drugs, it forces insulin up. That's why you're having such a terrible time struggling losing weight, because when insulin goes up, it forces the body to store fat. And that's why diabetics struggle so much. So here's the great news, Climb the Mountain. The diabetics who were in the studies lowered their blood sugar by 10 points, not 10%, in 30 days. But here was what was amazing for the first time ever. They lowered their insulin by 41% in 30 days. And most of them, remember, the researchers weren't monitoring them. It was their own doctors, which was one of the rules of the researchers. If you had anybody on drugs, they wanted them to be monitored by their physicians, right? Most of the diabetics had to cut their medications by 50% after 30 days. So if that's all it did, Climb the Mountain, I'm sure that would make you very, very happy, right? Isn't that cool? So anyway, wow, I've been almost 2 hours. So any of your other people that have hung around on here, thank you very, very much. I'm going to wrap it up in about 10 or 12 minutes. So if people would like to put questions in there for me to answer, to ask, et cetera. And I would ask a big help for me. My TikTok site is The New Health Conversation. If you can go there and like it. We want to really grow this thing because we realize we are the canaries in the coal mine. This is the only voice that's showing you real medical proof about a real solution that's so much more than weight loss. That's what's so great about this. Like in Climb the Mountain, he wants to lower his triglycerides. Wow, that's great that you did that already. Great, Climb the Mountain. You're going to love this, and you're going to love working with Dan here as soon as I hang up in about another 12 minutes. So get ready. He'll be probably texting or calling you or whatever. As long as you provided that information when you filled out the form, then we will go forward with that, right? So anybody else on here that would like to, again, ask me a question. But again, the main thing I want all of you to do, if you want, is go to the website, see the free medical advice right there, the new health conversation, and schedule it. Well, he's Climb the Mountain's already done it. Dan's going to call him. But we have a lot of other coaches as well, and it really depends on how many people that we have, because I think this is my third podcast of the day. And then normally towards the end of the day, then we accumulate everybody that wants to do a personal consultation, et cetera. But Climb the Mountain, I'd be very... Well, Johnny, you have to answer that question. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I think that what's happening is that to give you all an idea, the total healthcare budget in this country is about 4.5 trillion with the T dollars. Metabolic syndrome, which the CDC estimates is 92.3% of the population. If you're metabolic unhealthy, you have 3 of 5 factors: overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. 92% of the American population. That represents 1.2 trillion of the 4.5 trillion dollar healthcare budget. So obviously, I just spoke in University of California, Berkeley 2 weekends ago with 100 doctors, and that was their big concern, asking me about metabolic syndrome, because in the medical studies, all 5 of those factors came down in 30 days. All 5. It's never been seen before. That's why I keep telling you, don't do this to lose weight. That's like, for us, it's like, yeah, we know that. Again, if you lose as much weight in 4 days as 6 to 8 weeks of diet and exercise, do you think you'd be motivated to continue? But getting to your weight loss goal is the least important thing to us. It's getting you to optimize your quality of life potential, and then show you how to maintain it. Don't even do this if you think it's like, I'm going to lose the weight and then I'm going, no. We're going to teach you a completely different way. But it doesn't mean you can't have Haagen-Dazs and pizza and steak and, adult beverages or whatever you want to do moving forward. Once we get you to maintenance. Like I said, I lost 40 pounds 21 years ago. I've kept it off for 21 years. Sounds pretty good to me. So again, since we can't buy healthy food. Well, but you can't, it's not, Johnny Guitar, let me clarify. It's not that the food you would buy from the grocery store, Whole Foods or organic food, it has nutrients, but it just doesn't have like I said, you're getting 20 out of 70 of the trace ionic minerals, only 20. But these foods have all 70. Just like the amino acids from steak, grass-fed beef, chicken. I do grass-fed beef, but it's only 30% absorption of amino acids. So I do the world's most perfect meals to give me the 70 minerals, to give me the 91% absorption, to give me the adaptogens to lower stress and inflammation in my body, and to give me the natural vitamins. It's that simple. It's really not that expensive. It really isn't. And again, you have to understand that even on maintenance, you're replacing food you won't be buying. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I am agreeing with you. Yeah, right. Climb the mountain. So watch for Dan. In 8 minutes, I'm going to hang up and I'll go and look at the log, and I'll get you two connected. Okay. So anybody else that would like to comment, question, bring into focus any of this information? Yeah, you two have a great night. I'm going to hopefully watch a little bit of football. And by the way, you all need to know, I do podcasts on weekends. I do work 7 days a week because the need is so great, and we're wanting to grow this as much as we can over social media. I love TikTok. They're just amazing, and we feel like we've really made a difference in so many people's lives because of TikTok. And we're very respectful of their rules. That's why I won't show before and after pictures. That's why I don't make any claims. Anything that I'm reading to you is coming from our own research. It's our research. Nothing is fake. Nothing is made up. It's all based on medical studies and medical proof. And the thing we wish for all of you the most is that you will at least go to the website. Let me put it up there again on the bottom here. The New Health Conversation. There, you can see it, and see the medical proof for yourself. And then if you decide, you can set a free consultation like Climb the Mountain's doing it. Obviously other people as well, right? Well, maybe, Johnny. If it is, but I'm on other social media platforms, okay? I'm across all of them. So, because this message, I hope you can see, needs to get out to people to at least have access to the knowledge. I mean, hopefully you agree with that. Hopefully all of you feel this has been worthwhile and you're learning something and we're giving you an alternative to everything else that's on social media. They're basically telling you, I look at this stuff. I look at what they're claiming. I look at what they're doing. And I always see these stories, oh, I lost 50 pounds, but they don't show, well, how about 6 months later? They've gained it all back or more. They don't show you that part of it. So the reason that I'm doing podcasts as opposed to just like a live, because these really are informational. These are like, look, I'm not bragging, but I've done over 1,500 lectures all over the world. I've spoken in universities, I've been in medical and hospitals. I had a town in Northern California that flew me in to speak. They flew me to China to speak about this subject, which I was the one that, pretty much was the canary in the coal mine screaming about the fact we're storing these chemicals in our body. Does anybody think that's a good idea? It's very rewarding. And the reason I work 7 days a week is because I want people to have access to the information. And we do have really devoted coaches like Dan that's on here that's going to get together with Climb the Mountain. And these people are really devoted to the new health conversation because they've had maybe life-changing experiences themselves or maybe one of their friends or whatever. So our goal is to make you aware, to educate you so you can maybe make a different decision or you can just surrender to the stuff that's on social media. And how's that going to work? Yeah, that's part of it, Johnny. You're absolutely right. That's part of it. But the problem is that to gain back, for example, Johnny, 1 pound of lean muscle mass, according to the experts, it takes about 12 months. And that's even if they're exercising and doing everything right. Losing lean muscle mass is one of the most unhealthy things any of us could ever do, because it's not just that it slows down your metabolism, so you can't process as much fuel and you gain all the weight back, but it's also that it compromises our immune system. And that's if we've learned anything in the last 5 years, our immune system is kind of important to all of us, I think, anyway, right? So, again, we got about 3.5 minutes, and my voice is given out too, just to be quite honest with all of you, but I'm more than happy if anybody wants to put a question in the chat or in the comment section. I'm happy to do that. You all can see the website. I want to show it to the people that are still here. There's nothing on the website to buy, not my books, nothing. It's all just the medical proof for you to see. And if you like what you see, scroll down to the bottom and sign up for a free personal consultation, okay? That's what I would encourage all of you to do in the last, 3 minutes that we have here. Although the website's open obviously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But hear me, if you go to the website, we won't contact you. You need to be clear about that. We will not. But what we will do is if you contact us by filling out the form like Climb the Mountain did, and I'm sure other people did it as well, and then we will, one of our coaches will get back to you to answer all your questions because we don't know anything about you, okay? So anyone else that would like to ask a question? Mama Frey, John 09696, anybody else? If it's health related, no one should try to gain weight. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Johnny Guitar, it sounds like you're very much, in line with this. And Johnny, I would really, if you haven't, I would really encourage you to go to the website because I think you'll really be fascinated by the medical research that's there, including this interview with the #1 weight loss physiologist. And most people don't understand that when you're talking about a physiologist, that's way beyond just nutrition. They're actually studying what the nutrition does to the organs inside the body. And this is the top person in the entire world, not me. Okay, I'm the researcher of the researchers, but he really is the top person. And he basically says in there, they'll never recommend any form of traditional diet again because they prove that those diets just don't work in the long run, Oh, Mama, great. Obviously. And Mama Frey, if you went there, did you It's up to you. Sign up for free consultation only if you want to, because mama, keep in mind, we're not going to contact you. So don't think if you went to the website, we're contacting you. We don't do that. We're not there to convince you, sell you, twist your arm. We're there to give you the answers to your questions based on what you want to accomplish. Because maybe you want to gain weight. I don't know. We don't know. That's why we do it, okay? Oh, thumbs up, great. So obviously you liked what you saw there. And right, Mama, do you agree there's nothing to buy there? You didn't see any, there's no buy buttons, there's no tricks. It's just the medical proof, right? And there's the website again, the New Health Conversation. You can see it there. And you can schedule your free, Mama Frey, you can schedule your free consultation if you want. But only, look, for all of you, look at everything's there first. Don't sign up for a free consultation and because the website will help also maybe spur some questions that maybe you wouldn't think to ask until you've seen that. And the coaching, like, for example, I know he's gone now, but if he does your personal consultation, he's your coach the whole time through. So it's not just, hey, and then they disappear. Because they're forming a relationship with you, figuring out what the best format may be for you moving forward. So that's the same thing, Mama Frey. If you do decide, your coach becomes your coach the whole way through. And also, if you didn't hear me say that, Mama Frey, you're going to learn 40% of the food you buy from the grocery store, the other 60% comes from these 5 foods from around the world. But these fulfillment companies, Mama, they give you 100% money back guarantee the first 30 days on 60% of the food you're going to buy. I mean, I don't think you're going to make a deal with your grocery store. They're going to give you a refund. But you're going to, look, even if you go through the whole month, they'll refund all your money, even if you whatever. There's no questions asked. We're not trying to trick people. It's really that simple. Okay, so now we've reached, you're still here, Dan. Yeah, I see you are. Okay. So everybody, I'm going to sign off now. I hope you all have a wonderful, because I'm doing this all over the world, so I always say adieu, because I don't know. It's nighttime for some, it's morning for others, it's tomorrow for other people, so I'm all happy for you. And I wish you all the best possible health, and I just encourage you, inspire you, invite you to go to that website. It could change the rest of your life. Remember, it's R2M, race to maintenance. That's the goal. And we're there to support you and ask you questions, inspire you, coach you, motivate you, whatever you might need, okay? So everyone, I'm going to sign off now, and I wish all of you nothing but great health. And look for me tomorrow. I'll probably be on like 11 or 12 Eastern time tomorrow. And then on Sunday, the same thing, probably starting around 11 Eastern. And I'll probably do like at least 2 tomorrow and maybe 2 on Sunday. So all of you, I bid you adieu, and thanks for listening to me.